Every day, you wake up as your own boss, making your own way. Every day, you continue your journey to change the world, your team, and yourself. Every day, you encourage, congratulate, celebrate, and reach toward your goal of being the best and providing the best. The Build Your Best Business Show is for you. The real stories of building a business from other owners and founders along the journey. Find the support and advice you need to successfully start, grow, manage, and exit your business. What are you going to do today to build your best business?
Welcome to Build Your Best Business. I'm your host, Eric Holtzclaw. Build Your Best Business focuses on the entrepreneurial journey. What does it take to successfully start, manage, grow, and eventually exit a business? We have someone from the great city of Chicago, Allyson Scrutchens. She is the owner of Forward Planning. Allyson, thanks so much for joining us.
Yes, good morning. Good morning. Thank you, Eric, for having me.
Yeah, so first and foremost, I just want to know, why are you in the city of Atlanta?
Well, I'm here for the Bronzelands Film Festival.
Okay.
I am also a filmmaker and executive producer.
Oh,
so
wow.
My film was featured yesterday morning at the film festival, and I actually just got word that it was nominated as one of the best short films for the film festival.
Okay, so I'm not familiar with the film festival. So
It's
you
okay.
have to clue me in.
It's okay. So, us upcoming filmmakers, when we create films, we then have to run them through the film festival circuit so that we can have access to different people who come view it, and then maybe it gets picked up by a HBO or a TNT or a TBS or whatever the case may be. So we go through the film festival circuit to make sure that we are promoting our films, and then other people come out. So right now this is at the Bronzelands, but Saturday is being screened in DC at another film festival.
Oh, wow.
It was screened in Cannes, France at another film festival, as well as Canada, Miami. And so the name of the film is #WhereIsBeauty. So it's a 10-minute short film.
And is that the name of the movie?
Yes.
#WhereIsBeauty.
Hashtag
You definitely are a social media
beauty.
person.
So it's #WhereIsBeauty because it's about us loving ourselves in a world of social media standards, right?
Yeah.
So us women, I don't know about you men, but we have sometimes.
I may or may not have an Instagram where there's certain people, it's like, this is the new look, right?
Yeah, but it's more so security in general.
Right.
So when we're on social media, we're
I see.
comparing
Okay.
ourselves to other women, what they look like, and maybe we feel insecure sometimes. But the movie is about loving yourself and understanding the beauty within you, and that you don't need anybody else. So that's why it's #WhereIsBeauty.
Yeah, it's interesting because, social media, and this is really, we'll get into your background and things like that, but you'd think that social media might help because there would be all this conversation, but in some ways it doesn't.
It's more comparison because of social media.
Right,
So you're looking
exactly.
at what they're doing, and then it's just like, wanting to be popular on social media.
Right.
Most people do things for likes instead of doing it because it's out of their heart.
Right.
So it's just about that comparison method and feeling good about yourself.
Okay, so #WhereIsBeauty, Forward Planning. You've written a book, How to Be an Entrepreneur 101,
Yes.
Imagination and Discipline.
Yes.
I like the second.
Yeah.
Most people get just the imagination part. Isaac,
Hint,
my
hint.
producer. There's a discipline piece to it,
It's
too.
the execution piece that's
right.
most important, right?
Yes,
so the
yes.
imagination, you get the vision, you have all these aspirations, but then most people lack the follow through. They lack the discipline to do it. It's like, I just got off my 9 to 5. We talked about most entrepreneurs working full-time jobs, and then they're entrepreneur,
Side hustle.
right?
Yeah.
Their side hustle at night. And so it's like, I just got off my 9 to 5. I don't feel like investing in my side hustle tonight.
Right.
But you woke up and went to that 9 to 5.
Yes.
You know, so what are you going to do to discipline yourself enough to work hard in your entrepreneurship journey so that can soon become your full-time job?
Yeah, the one of the business consultants I work with who does some EOS training, he says that strategy without execution is a hallucination.
Oh, I like that. I hear Dr. Nay laughing. I love that.
So you're young.
Yes.
So talk to me a little bit about your background and how you got into all these things that you're doing.
So Forward Planning is about 4 years old.
Okay.
I had a great job. I worked for a chamber of commerce, and I basically worked there about 3.5 years, and I was not happy. I was upset. I would walk into work and my spirit would be brought down. And so one day I decided, this is not what I wanted to do.
So was it just the monotony of the job, or?
It was the fact that, so I was working for a chamber of commerce, but I was managing a city program.
Okay.
So I kind of was into, that economics and politics in the city of Chicago, and I saw the lack of education that business owners had.
Yeah.
And so with forward planning, I decided to create that to empower other business owners and ensure they had what they needed to get themselves to their next level.
Okay, got it.
So that's basically where that came from, and I quit, and forward planning didn't even come into 3 months later.
Okay.
So it was more so what was meant for me to do.
And then forward planning.
I quit, and then forward planning came. See, I didn't even have a plan. You don't always have to have a plan. I made the jump.
Yeah.
And I made the jump not knowing that I was going to be the entrepreneur that I am. I actually started applying for jobs.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't working for me. And forward planning kept coming. But I did get a contract immediately when I quit.
Okay.
So I got a one-off contract, working with a business owner, incorporating their nonprofit, doing their mission, vision, logo, branding, identity, just doing everything to get the nonprofit off the ground.
Right.
And so when I got that was just a one-off contract. It wasn't a retainer. So it was like, okay, here's $3,000.
Right.
Well, the $3,000 is gone. What am I going to do next?
Right.
So I created forward planning, and everything else has fell into place. It hasn't been, the perfect ride, because no entrepreneurship journey is going to be perfect. I've had my broke moments, my depressed moments, my sad moments, but then I also have my high moments and great moments, like meeting people like you.
Oh, well, that's so nice. Thank you so much. Well, thanks for reaching out. The thing about that, the entrepreneurial journey, and the reason I do the show is I've been an entrepreneur before it was cool. Okay, so back when it meant you were just unemployed.
Yes.
So the joke is there was a movie called The Big Chill, and one of the friends says, I'm an entrepreneur, and all of his friends say, oh, well, that means you're unemployed.
Right.
And so I left big IBM and that kind of thing and got into this, and I feel like, and I'd be curious to see because you run into people who are deciding to go off and do their own thing, it's sort of glamorized. Being an entrepreneur is the new rock star.
It's a fad word.
It is, and it's really hard. And
it is.
Yeah, it's not an easy road to take.
So that's a part of also the reason why I wrote the book.
Yeah.
Right. So I've been doing it about 4 years, and I have went through so many different things, highs and lows, trials and tribulations. And now everybody is hashtag an entrepreneur, right? Everybody uses that hashtag.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I'm just like, driving for Uber doesn't mean you're an entrepreneur.
Right.
It's just like, what are you really doing to build your business, build your brand?
Self-employed.
You're self-employed.
Which is great.
But you're not technically an entrepreneur.
Exactly.
Because you need a business.
Yes.
So that's where the book came from. The quote on it, you say you want to be an entrepreneur. Now what?
Right.
Because everybody is using it and it's a hot topic. But what I like to say is, does your business bank account match your statuses? Because people are posting and talking about entrepreneurship so much, but my thing is your money reflecting what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. And so what I'm curious about is you talk about imagination and discipline. So how did that come? How did you know that would be part of it? Because that's something you learn, right? So I tell people, you got to be patient, consistent, you got to have focus, and you have to be aware. Number 4 is one that not a lot of people get to. It's sort of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Right? So understanding that it was not just about imagining something, but also the discipline to execute. Are you an execution person?
I am.
Okay.
So forward planning.
Yes. Okay. Got it.
Is the business. I plan everything. When I was in high school, the first day of school, I knew what I was wearing that whole month, right? It was like I'm wearing this shirt with this skirt with these shoes.
Yeah.
And so I've always been a big planner.
I'm about that with food.
Okay.
So I'm planning the next meal at the one before.
Exactly.
And sometimes a couple before, but yeah.
And so we like certain things to plan with it in, but how can we plan within our business and in our futures, right? One of the biggest things that I also talk about is generational wealth. And so the only way that you can truly accomplish generational wealth is if you plan ahead.
Yeah.
You have to plan. But the planning is still in the imagination phase. It takes the execution to get to the discipline phase. So one thing, I went to the Steve Harvey show one time, and he gave this awesome quote about imagination is a preview of things to come.
Yes.
And so he talked about how you go to the movies, and when you go to the movies, you get a preview of the movie that's coming. And for sure, that movie comes out. And it's the same in our lives. We get a preview of what we can have. It's just a matter of us to make it happen.
Exactly.
And so I really love the imagination and discipline part. I like you say that because most people just go with the regular title, How to Be an Entrepreneur 101. But the important part is imagination and discipline, because I honestly, even now, I accomplish things that I go back, because I'm a planner, so I have notebooks of ideas and things that I wanted to do, and I go back and I say, oh my goodness, I did that, you know, not even realizing that I wrote it down maybe 4 or 5 years ago. So it's just imagining it and then putting that plan to action, because your vision is nothing without the execution.
And so the book is a way for people who want to go off and do their own thing to start off and kind of get into being an entrepreneur.
Yes, of course. So the beauty about the book is that it's an empowerment self-help guide. So the whole first half is me prepping you and pushing you into entrepreneurship, right? But
I call those people the kick the cubers. So someone who needs to kick the cube. It's time to go do something new.
It's time to do it. But then we have the workbook in the back.
Got it.
And so we have a passion and income exercise where I say, well, what's your passion? What's your purpose? Because something else I talk about highly is how can we make your passion your paycheck? That's what entrepreneurship is. Making your passion your paycheck. So you wake up every day doing something that you love and enjoy. But then we go in a little bit deeper, like who's your target population? What's your startup budget? What's your mission?
You mean they have to have
vision?
customers?
Yes. Your customers are what keep your business going.
Right.
And the customer is always right, no matter how much they tee you off.
So funny.
So it's a matter of, understanding what it all needs to be done for you to be successful as an entrepreneur. And I think that we just think about, I got this idea. Okay, now what? Who's going to buy your idea? Is it moms? Is it runners? Is it healthy people? What type of demographic is going to be attracted to your business? And then when we figure that out, we can figure out how they can continually make you money.
Right. So that overall plan, and that helps, I think, when people are considering kicking the cube and leaving the full-time job into their side hustle, that they got to have that plan, right?
Yes.
Often I'll hear people talk about, I want to go do the following thing, and they don't have a plan around when they're going to do it, how that's going to work, and it may just be an idea, not a business.
That's what people fail to realize. Some ideas are not businesses, and then even
some very well-funded ideas are not businesses.
No, they're not. But they're an opportunity to help you build your brand. But are they going to be long-standing businesses? All ideas don't turn into that. And some ideas are just meant for you to pass over or sell to someone else. And it may not be closely associated with your brand, but you can help empower somebody else's.
Very smart. Very smart. So did you, before going to the chamber, did you go to college somewhere?
I went to college for everything but business.
Okay.
So I have an undergrad in social work, the helping profession, and then I have a master's in public administration. So I'm able to manage anything publicly. But
I went to school for computer science.
Oh, wow. And look at you.
And then realized I never wanted to program a computer a day in my life.
Most people do. The one I've heard about most is most people go to school for accounting and never come out doing accounting.
Lots of lawyers become entrepreneurs. They get into the law and they're like, and I need to do something else. But it's a really good background for it. So we're going to a commercial break, and when we get back, I want to talk a little bit about maybe lessons you learned along the way that help to create the knowledge that's in the book.
Sounds great.
This doesn't just come from anywhere, right?
No.
You had to stub your toe a couple times. So listen to Build Your Best Business. I'm your host, Eric Holtzclaw. Back in just a minute, we're talking today with Allyson Scrutchens. She's the owner of Forward Planning and the writer of How to Be an Entrepreneur 101 and the producer of the movie
Hashtag Where is Beauty?
Where is Beauty? We'll be back in just a minute.
Thank you.
Congratulations, you're your own boss. Now comes the hard part. It's not just about starting a business, it's about successfully managing and growing that business to an eventual exit. And along that entrepreneurial journey, you're going to run into questions and problems that you need quick answers to. Things like, do you need a business plan? How do you read a balance sheet? How do you talk to an investor? When do you bring on a founder? Or what if you're having problems with your partner? These are the types of things that you run into as you're trying to grow that business to the next level, and they may not be the things you want to share in public with other people. They're the problems and issues that arise that, as I have experienced along my own entrepreneurial journey, that I needed to have someone I could trust to reach out to and have a conversation and get a different perspective. And it was often those short conversations that would be the thing that moved me from where I was to where I needed to be. It's for that reason I created the On-Demand CXO product offering. On-Demand CXO is something that you can use to have a conversation with a trusted advisor about what's going on in your business. We do a 1-hour phone call to talk about your business, talk about your objectives, and understand what it's going to take to move you from where you are today to where you want to be tomorrow. From there, you have ongoing access to a Slack channel to ask me questions in private about what's going on in your business so that I can provide some advice or connections to my network to individuals who can help you solve against that problem. You will also have access to my Facebook page, which is full of other entrepreneurs who are along the same journey, to have more broad conversations, things that you trust and would talk about in a networking event. But when you need to go and have that conversation with a trusted advisor, you will have the ability to have a conversation with me in a place that's safe, completely anonymous, and unbiased. I want to see you succeed and build your very best business.
And we're back. You're listening to Build Your Best Business. I'm your host, Eric Holtzclaw. Build Your Best Business focuses on the entrepreneur journey. What does it take to start, manage, grow, and exit a business? And I'm talking today with Allyson Scrutchens. She's the owner of Forward Planning. She's the producer of a movie. She probably has her own cupcake line. I have no idea.
Cupcakes coming soon.
They've just given her an idea. So you put this book together, How to Be an Entrepreneur 101. You decided to quit your job and couldn't find one that you liked from an interview perspective. Sounds like me, like go out and be like, I'll just build something, right?
Right.
So as you're working with people and going through this notebook, what are some of the things that you have seen them struggle with? What are some of the things that you think are, what are some common misconceptions?
So I think the most common misconception about entrepreneurship is that it's going to be easy.
Okay. If people come to you and they think it's going to be easy.
They really think it's easy.
Yeah.
Like, they look at my life and they're like, oh my goodness, you're doing so well. But it's like, did you know that I only slept for 2 hours last night? It's like, do you know my body is aching? I'm tired. I'm exhausted. And so it's not easy, that's what really motivated me, that last year I feel like everybody wanted to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And so it's
been
like
the last 5 or it's crazy.
It's really the fad word.
It went from certain people, like when I said I was moving into this kind of entrepreneurial world, sort of disavowed me, right? And now everybody's like, oh yeah, he's an entrepreneur, and I'm like, it's not always that awesome.
It's not. And so the lows of the entrepreneurship journey is what I think is the misconception, because either you can stay down there or you can choose to pick yourself up. And so failure is going to happen. And that is what most people are afraid of. That's why they don't want to make the jump, kick the cube. They're not willing to get out there because they're like, oh my goodness, what if I fail? But it's so what if you fail?
Right.
When you fail, you're meant to learn a lesson that will build you and make you better. So what are you learning in that lesson? And one of my chapters is that fear is a liar.
Yes,
right?
It is. I have that in one of my presentations.
Really?
I do a presentation on scaling without failing.
Oh.
And I have this there's a graffiti. I'll have to send the picture to you. It says fear is a failure. And somebody's put it up underneath a underpass.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Look at us in tune
fear
already.
Fear is a failure.
So
yes. Fear is a liar. Sorry, fear is a liar.
Fear is a liar. And I have a shirt. I released a shirt. I gave you one with every chapter of the book. And so I have the shirt for fear. It says fear is a motherfucker liar.
Yeah, mine says generational wealth breaks the generational curse.
Yes. So
you have a different shirt for every chapter.
For every chapter, I have a shirt that goes with it. And we'll talk about, why I did that. It's just multiple streams of income with one thing. I released a book. Let's make money off T-shirts. Let's make money off books, workshops, things of that nature. But it's just a matter of understanding that fear will be the one thing to slow you down. Yeah. And if you're not able to overcome your fears, then you can't be an entrepreneur, because every new thing we do, it's anxiety behind it. You're like, oh my goodness, I don't want to launch it. I don't know if anybody's going to like it, repost it, share it. If anybody's going to come to my launch event, so things of that nature, you have to step outside of your comfort zone. Yeah. And be willing to just get yourself out there. And if you have a vision and an idea that you think will change the world, just do it.
Right. And so what do you tell people, though, about, because you say failure it's inevitable.
Yes.
So what's your advice when someone does launch that thing and nobody wants it?
My advice is that, well, hopefully, we did a nice branding strategy and marketing strategy before you launched it and nobody bought it. But if that happens, then you need to go back to the drawing board and figure out what is it that you did wrong and how you can do better. Right. And so that's the thing in failures. Failures are meant to teach you something, but we're so caught up in the failure that we can't learn the lesson. We're mad that we just failed, but understand that there's something that you were supposed to learn in that moment that's going to build you up for something that's better. And so I have dealt with so many failures, as an entrepreneur, personally, mentally, honestly, I cried maybe 15 minutes yesterday just because I was so tired and exhausted. Right. And it was tears of happiness, but it was tears of, oh my goodness, what have I gotten myself into? And you have those moments as an entrepreneur. And, I like to ask other entrepreneurs, how often do you fire yourself? Right. Because I fire myself maybe every 2 weeks.
That's right. If you don't do it well.
Right. Yeah, you fire yourself that night, but a real entrepreneur wakes up the next day ready to hit the ground running. Yeah.
So when you're saying fire yourself,
I'm just like, I quit. I quit tonight.
Take that middle break. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I'm like, I need 9 hours of sleep tonight. Right. Can I get 9? Yeah. I quit tonight. Right. And then, some people may quit and then be done. Yeah. But that's not a real entrepreneur, because a real entrepreneur believes in their brand. They believe in their vision. They believe in what they have to change the world.
Well, and there's this saying that you haven't really failed until you've completely quit.
I like that one.
So until you completely quit, you haven't failed.
See, that's why I quit.
Trying. You keep keep iterating. And when people come to you before they're ready to do this, or do they often come to you while they're in the middle and they can't figure out what to do next? Like, where's the typical time that they might engage with you or your content?
So I've had a little bit of both, right? My youngest entrepreneurship mentee is 21. Okay. My oldest is 47. Yeah. And so I have worked with entrepreneurs when they were still in their job. My stylist, she told me, I met her last year. She was like, it wasn't until I met you that I fully quit my job. And I was like, oh my goodness, because of me? Yeah. And she was like, yeah, because your advice, your motivation. And now she's full-time being a stylist. She's going on shows. She's doing red carpets. And so she said, it wasn't until I quit that I was fully able to walk in my purpose. And so I meet some people right there when they're on the edge. I want to quit today. When I had an interview in New York last week. And it was so hot in New York. Oh my goodness. I couldn't make it. Right. So we walked in this store and I just found the air conditioning unit and I stood under it and I was like, I just need some air. Right. And lo and behold, I'm standing next to security who I had an everyday entrepreneur shirt on. And he was like, what's that about? And so we started talking. He said, do you know I was going to quit my job today? And I was like, oh, he said, and I needed to talk to you. I needed to hear this.
And you're like, I needed air conditioning.
I needed air conditioning. But, that's God and how things work. And I was meant to walk into him that day, but because I was really just trying to cool off. Yeah. But I sold a book. I sold a T-shirt. And he's like, now I feel more confident in walking in my entrepreneurship journey. Yeah. So I meet some of them everywhere. I teach workshops all over. And a lot of different people want to be entrepreneurs. They just don't know how to step outside of their comfort zone of that every 2-week check stability.
Well, it's the every 2-week check stability, and I also see that there's no common path.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like going and being an accountant, right?
Right, it's no cookie cutter.
Yeah, you learn debits and credits, and there's a right answer and all that, and there isn't. I mean, there isn't. Even it's from the same company and in a same industry, there can be a very different model to follow. So it's not a common path.
Yeah, everybody's entrepreneurship journey is different.
Yes.
And I think that's the other misconception, that they're comparing your journey to their journey or my journey to their journey. But
or what they're seeing on TV.
Oh, let's not talk about that.
Hey, we have to do this in 48 hours. And it's like, no, you don't.
It doesn't work
Probably
like
take
that.
48 months.
Right.
So,
you know, those first 3 months will be the worst, honestly.
I tell people the first 3 years, first 1,000 days.
I like that.
It's just like having a kid.
First 3 years.
First 3 years, first 1,000 days, you're like, goodness gracious, am I ever going to sleep again? You know. So.
And I'm in year 4, and this is my first year of actually being able to see some income and you know, things that I don't have to reinvest in or to keep going or to maintain. And so the first 3 years are the struggle. Yeah. And some people give up after the first 3 months.
They do. And it's the first 3 years, first 1,000 days, and if you get beyond that and it's still a struggle, then you need to think through, right? Like there's something you're doing, and you really need to make sure you've given it. That's the other part-time thing, right? Like if you do it part-time, that gets extended.
Yes.
So you got to be full in. Right?
You have to be fully invested. And the thing is that I never talk down on 9-to-5ers, right? But my thing is, if you want to be an entrepreneur and work your 9-to-5, you need to be willing to put as many hours into your entrepreneurship endeavor as you do to your 9-to-5.
Yes.
You know, you can't come home and be tired. You wanted to do this.
Come home and watch 4 hours of Netflix.
I know, right? Catch up on some shows.
So talk to me. So you do a lot.
Yes.
So you got a lot going on. So talk to me about why, and then maybe a little bit about what's next.
Okay, so the average millionaire has 7 sources of income. We all need at least 7 sources of income. Yes. So I am going to be a millionaire. I speak that into existence. And it's not about the money, it's about the stability. Right. And so the stability in being able to pass something down to my generations that will come after me, and my legacy is what's most important to me. So I believe in multiple streams of income, doing exactly what you love. So I love to do film and media. So I decided to get my feet wet and become an executive producer. I love to write and empower people. And so I decided to write the book to empower people, because this will be around forever. Right. Even when I'm gone, people can buy this book and become entrepreneurs that they want to become. You know, forward planning is my heart and soul, is how I became an entrepreneur. I started off originally with event planning, because I really love to do event planning. And then from forward planning, a year after forward planning came, the Everyday Entrepreneur brand. And so that's my brand, Everyday Entrepreneur.
Yeah, I like it.
7 days a week, we are hustling.
I love it.
So
love it. All right.
Becoming that is Everyday Entrepreneur. This was created out of Everyday Entrepreneur as well. So I am just finding out how to create the multiple streams of income while walking in my purpose. Yeah. And so I think that, you know, the other misconception is that entrepreneurs need one thing. You know, that's like it, but it's different from being a business owner and focusing on creating, you know, longevity for your one business. And it's another thing to be an entrepreneur.
Well, and an entrepreneur will have multiple businesses.
Exactly.
I have multiple things that do different things.
Exactly. So, but they all fall under Eric's brand.
That's right. Which means that when I meet somebody, I can probably do something with them.
Anything with them. I can find something.
Something. Yeah, I got a whole path I go through.
Right.
Like, I could do this or could do that.
Yeah. So and that's what I'm teaching people. You know, because I do I have an Everyday Entrepreneur curriculum. So it's a 12-week curriculum of how to be an entrepreneur 101. Yeah. Honestly, that's where the book came from, because I was teaching this 12-week curriculum for a year, and I had people, you know, who are outside of Chicago who were like, "How can I get your curriculum?" I'm like, "Well, let me turn it into a book." Yeah. And so the curriculum allows me to empower other entrepreneurs, and so it just all falls under the Allyson Renee brand.
I like it. I was advising some people of that recently, how you need to be your own brand, but then also have the sub-brands, because that revenue stream may be appropriate now and may not be.
Exactly.
It may go away.
Exactly.
So
because I have hot moments where forward planning is doing well. You know, the summertime, I'm crazy busy because events. You know, but we slow down a little bit in the winter, and in the winter is when I go into teaching.
Yeah.
So in the winter, this winter, I'm teaching in Springfield, Illinois for 6 weeks. So I'll be traveling back and forth to Springfield, Illinois just to teach entrepreneurship. But forward planning slows down with our events, so I'm able to do that. So therefore, year round, I'm always consistently bringing in some type of income.
Very nice. Well, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for
I'm
having me, Eric.
impressed.
Awesome.
Got a lot going on.
Thank
doing
you.
good. So and good luck with the movie.
Yes. I'm looking forward to it. And this film festival is an Academy Award winning film festival.
Awesome.
So it has potential to win an Academy Award.
So you're going to be walking the red carpet.
One day soon.
So you've been listening to Build Your Best Business. I've been talking with Allyson Scrutchens. She's the owner of Forward Planning. You can find all the information you need about Allyson in our show notes. And of course, thank you so much for joining us. Now, what are you going to do to build your best business?